The insurgency, which started in Syria, has now swept across Iraq. Who are these jihadists known as ISIS, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria? I spoke with Jessica Lewis, research director of the Institute for the Study of War. She's a former Army intelligence officer and Bronze Star recipient who was deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan for almost 3 years. Tell me a little bit about the structure of ISIS, both as an organization and as a military. I mean, they have an annual report?
Mm-hmm. They do. They've actually had two. ISIS also broadcasts its religious activities and its governance activities.
So you're talking about an army, you're talking about a government, you're talking about a religious institution, you're talking about annual reports. This is a very formidable opponent.
It is. This organization is vulnerable in its inchoate state, but the more it is able to establish new norms for itself, the more it is able to bring itself together and effectively govern, the more dangerous it's going to become.
What role did the Syrian civil war play in the resurgence of ISIS?
It broke down a lot of barriers. It brought a lot of foreign fighters into the Iraq front, and it gave them a chance to say that they could be more than just the Islamic State of Iraq, but in fact that they could become the most powerful military organization to exert control in both Iraq and Syria. And
what role did President Obama's refusal to intervene militarily in Syria play in all of that?
We definitely saw that after July 2013, when the United States did not intervene in Syria, forces inside of Iraq and Syria were emboldened.
Do you have any sense how many fighters ISIS has?
My estimates are very conservative. I think that we're looking at about 4,000 fighters on the Iraq front and about 6,000 fighters on the Syrian front, so totaling to about 10,000. The trouble, though, particularly on the Iraq front, is that they are not the only ones on the offensive against the government right now.
When ISIS takes over a city, Mosul, what do they establish there? What is life like under ISIS?
What ISIS initially did was establish a set of rules for social behavior that included some very severe restrictions, particularly upon women and upon praying 5 times a day, just very strict Sharia law that one would assume would be very vigorously enforced.
They talk about killing, cutting off hands, crucifixion.
They live tweeted corporal punishment, beheadings. They took credit for crucifixions.
What is ISIS's strategy? What is its ambition?
They want to establish this state in a Middle East where Iraq and Syria no longer exist. They want that to be not just a safe haven for foreign fighters, but in fact a place that like-minded people come to in order to live. They want to expand that with the military as far as they possibly can, and I think they want to be the thought leaders in the global jihadist revolution.
Can you negotiate with them?
No, I do not think you can negotiate with them. I don't think that they need to negotiate. They have a military. They're using it. That's their strategy.
And they're winning.
Yes.
When we come back, we'll look at the ever-changing power structure in Iraq, where ISIS is now a major player. Has the part of the country they now control reached a tipping point where it will turn permanently against the West? And is there anything we can and should do about it? Among those who will offer answers, former Vice President Dick Cheney. All that coming up.